It's great to have you with us, and I'm aware that some of you have been working hard for many years to provide something for the teenagers in your church or your area. And teens come and go, don't they? Or come and grow and perhaps move on to a different part of the country. And you may be left wondering, did we serve them well? Did we do the right things with them? Are we doing the right things with the teens we have now? Others may have an underlying sense of guilt, feeling they should be doing something for teens, but perhaps feeling ill-equipped or under-resourced. And then there's all the other stuff to take care of. It's hard to find time for everything. Some of you will have noticed the speed at which children in your church are growing, and in no time at all, they'll be teenagers. At some point in the future, you'd love to have a group that specifically cares for them and disciples them. But you wonder, who will do it? It may be a future concern, but it's getting closer. And you know, teenagers today are facing a wider range of pressures than ever, as well as things like subject and career choice, biological and relationship changes and challenges, family issues, and the pursuit of independence. Teens now have to work harder than ever to find their own identity, to create their own identity. Not just trying to find who they are, but crafting and enhancing and uploading the best version of themselves. And then monitoring the likes to see if they've been successful, to see if it's been enough. And we look on often brokenhearted and wish we could do something, say something that will help them navigate the challenges and come out the other side with as few scars as possible. As members of Christian churches, we know that the good news of Jesus Christ is good news for these young people, but how do we connect the two in a meaningful way without putting them off? How do we help young believers become mature believers? We're unsure where to turn, and that brings us back to doing something, anything, to hold on to them and keep them safe for as long as we can, or feel guilty if we don't. And this is why YMD was set up. Youth Ministry Development, YMD, comes alongside local churches like yours to help churches develop ministry to young people. And through personal conversations, careful listening, training, and ongoing support, we help churches like yours to think through the priorities of ministering to teens and what this might look like in your specific context, both now and into the future. We're not here to take over or impose a structure or force something that's not sustainable, but to come alongside you with focused conversations and tailored training to support you in developing ministry for teenagers in your local church context. And in the last while, we've had the opportunity to help a number of churches around the country. So YMD was invited to chat with a group of church leaders over in Mayo who are just beginning to think through what ministry to teens might look like in their various contexts. We had a great evening together in Castlebar back in February with plans to continue the conversation in the future. A church on the north side of Dublin had only 1 or 2 teens, but realised that within a year or two, they would have more as the children grow into teens. They invited YMD into their discussions, and we chatted about what would be important to consider and how to get things started. And during the early months of lockdown, they actually started a group online with about 8 children of upper primary school age. Another church in Meath chatted with YMD a couple of years ago and started up a regular group for teens with a couple of volunteers. And recently they asked us back for a chat and review. Some things were going really well, while other areas needed direction. Well, we met for a chat and had an online training session, and they now feel that they have a clearer understanding of their purpose and how to proceed. A church that was about to advertise for a youth worker asked YMD to have a look at their job description. As we chatted, they realised that the job description wasn't going to give them what they really needed for their church. They amended the job description and advertised with greater clarity for what they needed. And then just back in August, one youth group that's been going for a number of years with a clear purpose and clear strategy asked YMD to run a training session for volunteers in advance of starting the new term. They wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page with why they do what they do, as well as getting some training in preparing Bible talks and studies. And finally, Church of YMD had previously advised, recently had an issue with a couple of the teens in their group. They picked up the phone for a quick chat, knowing that support would be there, and they went away with some helpful options. And so you see the situations are many and varied, but all of these have benefited from connecting with YMD. And we would love the opportunity to meet with you, whatever stage you're at, and to help you develop something that serves young people with the Word of God and the good news of Jesus, so that they have every opportunity to trust in Jesus and become mature believers as part of the wider church family, so that they'll not only survive in a dark world, but be salt and light within it.